enthusiastic, Tinker.
She is just loving this heat and sun and chair.
It's beautiful in here, isn't it?
It really is beautiful.
Hi, I'm Groovy Kim. Welcome, and I'm here today with Sarah Johnson.
Hello.
Sarah, what is your title exactly?
That's a great question.
Well, we need to get you a title.
I work with energy healing, with Reiki, shamanic energy medicine, and more recently, Saraswati healing.
Wow. I'm not familiar with that term. Saraswati.
Saraswati healing is a modality that has been channeled through Alana Fairchild to help people connect with angels, ascended masters, and goddess energy.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds really interesting.
It is. It's a really beautiful modality, and it just brings a lot of peace in your heart, helps your heart open to more unconditional love to flow through your essence in your body, and help your body heal.
Well, one thing I kind of wanted to touch on today is the subject of grief and loss. You know, with the pandemic going on, there's a whole lot of people that are experiencing grief and loss right now. I have a friend who lost her mother to COVID.
Wow.
And, you know, when you stop and think about that, I personally have not lost my mother yet, but I can only imagine how much of a loss that must be. The word loss doesn't even seem appropriate.
Yeah, it doesn't really, I don't think there's a word in the human language to actually describe the emotions that hit someone when a loved one is transitioning to the other side.
Yeah. Personally, I did lose my dad and my stepdad, and you know that was tough.
Yeah.
But when you talk to someone who is in grief, that sometimes can be very challenging.
Absolutely.
For one thing, the person who is grieving often doesn't want to hear that you will be all right, just move on.
I don't think, again, there are words in the human language to help comfort someone in that area. I think just holding space and just holding that silence and being with them in silence and whatever comes up is probably one of the best things you can do, is to not say anything and just hold them and let them talk.
And let them express
Absolutely.
their feelings.
Absolutely. I think we've all had loss of something, whether it's a relationship or a physical being that has left, or even an animal companion.
Pets can be really tough to deal with a loss of a pet.
It's true. It's overwhelming.
It can be, especially if you have, everything is a perception. And if you have convinced yourself that your pet is your child, for example, which a lot of people do, boy, when they pass away, that can really turn your life upside down. And so even more important to reach out and go ahead and express your feelings. It's important not to stuff them.
It really is. And there's plenty of ways you can stuff them, but if you do it in your physical body, it can definitely cause some disease later in life. Not fully expressing whatever needs to come out in whatever way you feel comfortable, whether it's through dance, or sometimes I use kickboxing to release some of that.
That gets a lot of energy out.
It really does.
Yeah,
it really does. Or
dancing of any kind, or where you're getting real physical.
Really, just moving it through the body physically. Again, however that shows up.
But when you're really sad, I could, I heard right away. I had one side of me thinking, "You're right, dance," because that's my thing. I'm a dancer. I grew up dancing. I had dance lessons for 10 years, so that would be a go-to for me. But I can also see the other side of it. If you're in the middle of grief and you're really down, you're going to say, "Dance, really? I'm not going to dance right now. I just want to go to bed and put my head under the covers and stay there for a month."
And that's okay too. Just honoring that, just knowing that it's okay to go into what I call the womb. Go into your bed, go into your safe space, and cry it out. And not talk to anybody. You don't owe anyone an explanation. If you need that space to settle down, process out all the energy of your body through tears, through emotions, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it also helps to know that literally everybody has gone through this or will.
At some point in their life.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and so that you truly aren't the only one.
No. You're never truly alone. I mean, especially when those energies do pass it's an illusion that they're gone forever.
Yeah.
They actually become these really beautiful guides on your side to love and support you through life. And the memories that you have of these people, and you can see them in your mind's eyes, or these pets, will always be with you. They will always be around you. And you can call on them anytime you want. And I love that.
Did you see the Pixar movie Inside Out?
I did.
Oh my God. That's kind of what is reminding me of. If you haven't seen the movie Inside Out, I highly recommend it. It deals with emotions. And in only the way Pixar can do it, separates it out for you in plain animation.
Absolutely.
It's wonderful.
And they honor them all.
And they honor them all.
Yeah.
And they try to keep them all alive.
Yeah.
They don't want the sadness to go away entirely, because that absolutely is part of the human experience.
It is.
And you have to honor your experience. The question is, how long do you stay in sadness or in grief?
Yeah.
And that is a formula that fits. There is no one size.
There isn't. There is no one size. There is no amount of time. Just like healing, your body, there is no set time of like, oh, if you, just, eat carrots for this amount of time, you'll be healed. It doesn't really work that way. Everyone is different.
In 1 month, you should be over that.
Right.
That person that you lost, or that animal that you lost.
No.
There is no time limit. And the time that you need to put on yourself is really nothing. Except that if you're noticing that it is dragging on, energy is never really created, it's just transformed. And so
transmuted.
Transmuted.
Transformed and transmuted.
And so if you can find a way to transmute or transform your grief into something else, and to change it somehow.
Yeah, and creativity. A lot of people paint.
Create something with it.
Or they make, an altar. I recently lost someone to COVID, and he taught my husband how to play guitar.
Oh, wow.
And so we have his guitar on our wall with his photo and a candle, and he loved wine. So we put a bottle of wine there, and anytime we have a glass of wine, we pour him a glass. And it's our way of honoring him, and we put that energy of missing him into that altar, and just alleviating that stress on ourselves, because we know that he is always with us, and he always will be with us. And so creating that altar, that, like you said, creativity of just like making bracelets or anklets, or an area in your garden where you can go meditate and speak to them. Plant a tree. Yeah.
I have a rose bush in the front yard that is in honor of my sister that we planted, and then we have another one in honor of my grandmother.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's so beautiful. It's so healing.
And it's a simple way to honor someone, so that you can transform your grief into a healing type of grief.
Absolutely. Into this
There's
beauty.
a hurting grief, and then there's a healing grief.
Yeah, absolutely. And it just continues on. And I'm not saying that it'll always be there, because life comes in these initiations where there's just like these constant waves of like kind of getting over one situation and something else comes up, and you're just like, oh, will it ever end? I think part of that is just using your own energy to find the balance in the waves, to learn to surf, in life, versus being crashed over the head, by the waves of energies and emotions. And I find my way to surf is just through meditation.
Meditation, absolutely.
Finding a Reiki healer, finding someone to help you transmute those energies if you need assistance. And Reiki is a beautiful way to do that.
Yeah, and when I started studying Reiki, I realized just how powerful you really are.
We all are.
And everyone has the ability. I mean, it's awfully nice to go to a healer. I've been to Sarah personally, and she's wonderful. I highly recommend her. What's the name of your business, so that others can look you up?
We're called Inner Evolution Healing.
Inner evolution
healing. And we're here in Bonnie Lake.
Bonnie Lake.
Yes, Bonnie Lake, Washington. And it's, again, finding your own way to heal. And I think Reiki, and knowing that you are your own best healer, whatever resonates with you is something that you should do. If you feel, again, like dancing or kickboxing or, creating energy or planting a rose garden, or maybe just going on a hike and screaming.
Going out in the woods and screaming at the top of your lungs and just get it out.
Get it out. However that resonates or feels to you. Some people like to use more massage, and you just
be quiet with music. Absolutely. There's a lot of things you can do.
I mean, there's 7 billion people on the planet, so there's 7 billion different ways to heal, and just honoring that, and
having patience with yourself.
Most importantly.
Yeah, because you can't speed it up on purpose. No. You have to just relax into it and realize, okay, this is a human experience that my light being is having.
Your soul is having this experience.
And with the deal of being human, you're going to, if you want to have love, that the deal requires grief at some time.
It does. It does. It's again, it's these beautiful initiations of relationships that we have with other humans or, again, animals, that it is the nature of life. It brings our own morality to us.
Yeah.
We're all headed towards, the finish line, and we're all going to be there at one point or another. It's different timelines.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's how did I, when you're at the end of your life and you're looking back, hopefully you will say to yourself, how did I spend that time? Did I waste years and years in grief? Or did I grieve a little bit and then move into honoring the grief? And how can I create something positive out of that?
Absolutely. And, whomever you lost will help you with that. Ask them for help. Ask them, reach out to them and ask them, in your prayers, in your heart, in your meditation, through tears, to help you find peace in this process, to be with you always. And they show up. They'll show up in ways of like a hummingbird in your backyard.
Yeah.
A butterfly. Yeah.
A lot.
Feathers that show up.
Feathers.
Each person is, there's going to be a plant or a smell, or there's going to be something that resonates with you and that person and that relationship that you had, and whether it's seeing a seagull or whether it's hearing a song. Just know when you hear that, that's their presence. That's them being here with you, and honor that, and know that that's their visit. And you'll see them in dreams, and those are real. Those are real visits that you get to have with them, and those are special times, and they want you to know that they're okay, and that they're all okay. They're all still alive on the other side. Dr. Wayne Dyer actually had a beautiful
I love
story.
Dr. Wayne Dyer.
He's amazing, and he talks about twins in the womb.
Yeah.
And have you read this?
I remember that.
Yeah, it's beautiful. And he talks about how the two twins are talking, and they have everything they need, and they're warm, and they have their food, and they're just so comfortable in there. And one is like, I can't wait to get out of here. It's going to be amazing the other side. And the other baby's like, no, there's nothing. There's nothing. They're just here. This is just what we have.
It's comfortable and warm right here.
I don't want to leave. I don't want to go. I don't go. And eventually, they obviously leave the womb, and they realize that there is life outside of that. And that's kind of how death is too. Is that we sometimes believe that there's nothing outside this physical world, but there's so much more waiting for us. And just honoring that and knowing that they're in their full glory.
Well, see, my practice is more of the energy healing through Reiki, but you also incorporate in your practice angelic healing.
Yes.
And I'm very interested in learn about that, and that's kind of what you're touching on now, is that now, as I understand it, the angelic realm is literally just another frequency than human beings here on Earth in this third dimension.
Yes.
And so if they're on another frequency, in order for us to speak with them or communicate with them, we have to raise our frequency.
Yes, ma'am.
To theirs.
Absolutely.
Does that make sense, brothers and sisters?
And it sounds so easy.
Yeah, well, and that's where meditation comes in. Cause
that is where meditation comes in.
Yeah.
And the highest frequency of all is love, is unconditional love.
Did you hear that? Love. We actually have measured that.
Yeah.
That to me is so exciting because I'm Miss Science Girl, and if you can show me in a laboratory actual emotions emitting from a human being in a laboratory, and you can show that when they are at the love state and feeling pure love and joy, that is the highest frequency
It is.
on the scale.
And that's where our loved ones reside, is that unconditional, true essence of love. And that's where we can visit them.
Right.
Is with this beautiful, loving, open heart, you know?
And so I like to think that, okay, so our loved ones are on a different frequency when they pass over, when they pass away or when they die, however we want to phrase it.
Absolutely.
I notice that we dance around the phrase because it's uncomfortable, I think.
You know,
a lot of people will say pass away. It feels nicer than he died.
Float away. Sure. I mean, it seems very abrupt and like very 3D, like. But you know, in the Native American culture, the death is just an initiation. You know, whether it's a death of like a relationship, if you think about like your first true love and like, oh, there's nothing outside of this, and then you know, you guys don't work out. There's real pain there when you first get that. But it's an initiation. It's beautiful initiation. So is death. It's an initiation to the beyond, and it's initiation home. You go back home from whence you came. You know.
And each grief and each joy, each experience ever in your whole life is a learning.
It's this beautiful
opportunity. Even when you're in it deep and you feel terrible and you're super sad. Know somewhere deep in your heart that there really is going to be an opportunity there somewhere.
Absolutely.
For you to create something out of that.
Absolutely. There always is. And it's just being patient with yourself, being kind with yourself, and don't judge yourself. You know, there's no reason to.
How come I can't get over this?
Yeah.
Well, you probably won't get over it. Change your verbiage for one thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Just like the verbiage of death, you know, it isn't the end, it's the beginning, and I always, you know, try and transition out, or they've ascended is another thing I say, because now they're on the highest vibrational frequency than we are.
Right.
And so they've ascended past that. If you think about video games, they got to the next level. You know, however you want to do that. And so eventually you will get to a different level.
Yeah. And as far as loss, you don't think of it as totally leaving it behind or it's all gone.
No.
You're just transforming it, the energy, into something else.
Absolutely. And what is divinely yours can never be lost.
Correct. So all those loves that went away are really not gone.
Yeah. It's just an illusion. And so it is just an illusion that you've lost someone, because now they are at the highest level to help you. They can be even more loving and more caring and watch out for you.
Because they had a lot of limitations when they were here on Earth as a human or as your pet, your beloved pet, whatever it was. They had the same limitations that you have.
Absolutely.
And now they're in a different realm.
Yes.
And they're
limitless.
They're limitless.
They're limitless.
And can offer even more help.
Even more help and more love and more support.
How would you maybe help someone who knows nothing of this to communicate with someone they may have lost? What would you tell them first to maybe try to do?
I would say to close your eyes and picture them in your mind's eye. And you know, that it's something as simple as picture them in your mind's eye, or even having a memory of them, of love. Try not to think of them in a poor light.
I notice you're doing this when you say that.
I am. I'm coming from my heart center.
Right.
I'm holding that space from my heart, and I'm welcoming guidance from my heart.
And when you do this, this psychologically to your subconscious is also opening the communication.
Absolutely.
To your loved ones. So the way you hold yourself, you're also honoring yourself.
You are. And you're honoring your ability to speak with them. And so you just honor them and just say, you know, I could use some love right now. Let me know that you're here. You know, the most benevolent outcome of this conversation, you know, show me a sign that you are with me, that you're around, that, you know, and that you're safe. And wait, you know, wait for it to happen. Look for it. And that's what I would say. You look for it and you'll know. You'll know when it happens.
you'll get little signs.
You do. You get beautiful signs, again, whether it's a bird that lands on your window that you've never seen before, or again,
it's out of the ordinary.
Someone calls you that knows them and has a story that they want to tell you, or they will communicate through other people, through animals, through divine intervention, however it shows up. A lot of times for me, I smell them. I smell like roses, and there's no roses around, and all of a sudden I get this like sense of rose or lavender, which I know, as connected to, my ancestors, and so it just gives me that peace that here they are. They're here with me now.
Yeah.
And just know that again, when you're talking to them and you're asking them and you're seeing their face smiling in your mind's eye, that is still them visiting you. That is the way that you can talk to them, is through that third eye.
Yeah, they come
through that opening.
In pictures.
In pictures, exactly. That's how they come through. And they come through in these loving moments, in dreams.
And the more you're open to it,
it's true,
the more the communication can be open.
Absolutely. The more you're open to it, you honor it and go, I got your message, thank you. The more that they can see that you're getting the messages and you've received them, and you're like, yes, I got your message, thank you so much for being here with me. Absolutely.
Grateful.
Thank you so much.
Gratefulness is huge.
Yes.
The more you put out being grateful, the more you attract other wonderful things into your life.
The more you recognize those beautiful gifts from your ancestors, the more they can drop more off to you, because you're honoring it, you're seeing it. If they're dropping them off and you're not seeing them and you're not picking them up, they tend not to drop them off.
So if you're hanging around in grief for a long time, you might be missing a lot of their communications, their messages to you.
And so maybe going to see like a Reiki healer to clear out those energy fields, so you can really listen and be part of your heart center. That's really where they come through, is through that heart, through that unconditional love.
And honoring is huge, because you don't want to just think of it as, I have to be healed, I want to get rid of this grief, because that almost feels like you're getting rid of the person you loved, or the pet that you had that you loved. And you're not getting rid of it, you're helping to move through it.
Absolutely.
Huge difference in the way you're communicating with yourself.
Right. Absolutely. And I think that's important.
To allow yourself to have, give yourself permission to go see a Reiki healer.
Yes, and give yourself permission to go through whatever emotions arise for you, and honor them coming up. You're always in a safe place to express yourself and to, let those emotions out. You're never not supported by angels and by your guides. They're always supported. Whether you realize it or not, that's a whole other story, but you are always supported. You are never alone. You are always loved unconditionally.
Now remember, when I pass on, we're going to be in another frequency, and we're going to be wanting to help our loved ones who are still here.
Absolutely.
You'll be doing it too.
Absolutely.
So that helps as well, to just think of it that way as well. Because,
and you can help in such a bigger way from the other side than you can here.
And if you think of it, well, what if from here I can help help them too on the other side? We can help each other.
Always.
If we learn to communicate. Just like
absolutely
here on Earth. The more we communicate, the better we're going to do.
We are all connected. Always have been and always will be. And so the more you can connect with your community, with your friends, with anyone that, really speaks to your heart, that can hold that space for you, who's not trying to, like you say, sweep it under the rug and be like, okay, let's move forward, let's get past this.
Time to move on.
Yeah, time to move on.
Yeah.
That can just honor the space you're in and know that it's okay. Know that this will transmute. This will come about in its own time. There's no reason to rush it. There's no reason to judge it. Just let it be.
It's okay to tell people, I really would appreciate it if you would just listen.
Yeah.
I don't want any advice.
Yeah.
I just need someone to please hug me and listen. Yeah. And that's all.
And
maybe you need to look around for the right person for that.
Absolutely. And that's huge. And to be a good listener, just to be able to lock up your mouth, let it go, and just hold that. And that's what we call holding space, is just to go, okay, I'm here for you. Let it out. And to let people, like you said, that communication of, I just need to let this out. Please don't judge me. Do not respond to me. Do not answer these questions.
Don't try to fix it.
Don't try and fix it. Don't try and sweep it under the rug. Don't respond at all. Just be there to listen. And even after it's all done, there's nothing else that needs to be said. Nothing. There's nothing that needs to be said. Yeah. And
That's
don't filter yourself. Just let it come out. Mm-hmm.
Because the more you can let it out,
Yep.
on purpose, with intention of, I'm going to kind of purge, really.
Yeah, absolutely. Verbal vomit.
Verbal vomit.
Verbal
You like that one? I like that one, Sarah. That's
Yeah,
a good
verbally
verbal vomit.
Just let it out.
This hurts like hell.
Yeah.
I can't handle this. This is
That's
crazy.
right. That's right.
But then,
Mm-hmm.
after that, you can't help but go, and your body will have let go of that energy, and then you can start to transform it into something different.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
With that,
Mm-hmm.
Sarah, thank you so much for joining me. I honor you.
I
I honor you and your husband
Namaste.
very much. Namaste.
Thank you so much. And we honor you as well.
And we honor you too.
Thank you so much.
Namaste. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you so much for joining
Thank
us.
you so much.
I appreciate it, and thank you for joining me, Sarah,
My
today.
pleasure. Thank
Namaste.
you. Namaste.
And until next time, thanks for joining us. Please subscribe if you haven't already. Appreciate it, guys.
Yeah.
That's really groovy.